This is the history of the Great Lakes bulk carrier, Michipicoten. The Michipicoten was originally called Elton Oit II, and she entered service in 1952. She is a self-discharging lake freighter owned and operated by the Canadian shipping firm Lower Lakes Towing. The Michipicoten primarily hauls taconite from Michigan to the steel mill in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. It has a capacity of 22,300 tons, has a speed of 12 knots or 14 miles per hour, and has a length of 689 feet 6 inches or 210 meters. The Michipicoten was built in 1952 by Massachusetts Heavy Industries. It was one of the 3 vessels built to a similar plan for the Interlake Steamship Company. It was launched as Elton Oit II. The other 2 vessels, Johnstown and Sparrow Point II, were built for Bethlehem Steel Corporation. All 3 ships were brought to the Great Lakes via the Mississippi and Illinois River, which restricted their size. Specifically, Elton Oit II measures 626 feet 6 inches or 191 meters long, and she had a carrying capacity of 20,000 tons. It was powered by a 5,700 kilowatt steam turbine and 2 oil-filled Foster Wheeler water turbine boilers. As Elton Oit II, it was brought through the rivers. Its cabin and pilot house were carried on deck and assembled in Chicago, and it entered service on the 15th of August 1952. Over the course of the next 2 decades, she entered a pattern of shipping iron ore from Duluth, Minnesota, or Superior, Wisconsin, to a number of ports in the lower Great Lakes. Throughout the 50s, she had an incident-free career. In 1957, she was lengthened by 72 feet or 22 meters, which increased her total length to 698 foot 6 inches, which is what she is today. The lengthening also increased her capacity to around 23,000 tons. In 1966, she was sold to Packnars Mader and Company. She remained in their fleet until 1973. In 1980, she again went for upgrades, this time a conversion to a self-unloading vessel. It was converted at the Toledo-based American Shipbuilding Company. In 1985, Johnstown, which had been converted to a self-unloader, was sold for scrap. The 3rd ship, Sparrow Point, was converted in 1980 and sold as Buckeye until 2008. When that ship sustained severe damage to its engines and shortly after was converted by the Rand Logistics Lower Lakes Towing Company into the barge Manoni, leaving the Michipicoten the last fully functional member of its class. Throughout the 80s and 90s, she saw varied use. For some seasons, she did not sail at all. In the 90s, the vessel was certified to carry grain and made several trips to Buffalo, New York, in addition to its regular loads of tananite. On April 10, 2003, she was sold to Lower Lakes Towing Company, a Canadian shipping company. It was renamed Michipicoten after the Canadian river of the same name. The name Michipicoten means big bluffs in the Ojibwe language and refers to the hills near the river. It was christened on the 24th of May 2003 in Sarnia, Ontario. The ship began supplying tananite to the Algoma Steel Mill in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. In December of 2010, Michipicoten was laid up in Sarnia. Over the course of several months, its steam turbine system was replaced with a 6,000 kilowatt diesel engine and a new pitch propeller. The cost of the upgrade was around $15 million US. And now we jump ahead to this month. On June the 8th, 2024, the ship observed hull damage while traveling near Isle Royale in Lake Superior. The ship's crew reported hearing a loud bang while the vessel was in deep water. The ship began taking on water and at one point reached a 15-degree list. The crew was able to issue a distress call and started pumps and got the list to just 5 degrees. The distress call was met by the Edwin H. Gout, who waited with the Michipicoten until the arrival of the U.S. Coast Guard. The vessel made her way under her own power to Thunder Bay, Ontario, with escorts from the U.S. and Canadian Coast Guards. At the time, it was thought the vessel had struck an underwater object. However, there has been no evidence found to suggest a collision. While in Thunder Bay, divers inspected the hull and determined the likely cause may have been fatigue. Divers discovered a nearly 4-meter long crack, that is 13 feet, in her hull. A member of the Coast Guard stated it looks like hull failure, which could be the result of stress, fatigue, and the age of the vessel. She's 72 years old. The exact cause of the damage still remains unknown. Divers placed a temporary patch on the crack. On the 20th of June, the Michipicoten left Thunder Bay, Ontario under her own power and headed for Fraser Shipyards in Superior, Wisconsin, where she is currently awaiting inspection and repairs. She was escorted across the lake by 2 tugs, a Canadian tug on the Canadian side, and she was met by the L&H on the American side, where she was escorted into the shipyard. And that's where she sits today. She's on dry dock and Fraser Shipyards awaiting inspection.